Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming back my good friend Mindy Seeger, who you may remember I had on a year ago. And she's going to come on the show. We're just going to catch up and talk and have some laughs and stuff today. It's going to be pretty cool. I can't wait. Mindy is pretty awesome. And I'd also like to say happy belated birthday to our good friend, Barbie Wild. I acknowledged it on social media on Monday, but I forgot to mention it on Tuesday's show. So, happy birthday, Barbie Wild, my favorite Cenobite. Queen Cenobite, that is. Also, I'd like to say rest in peace, James Frawley, one of the great Renaissance men of show business. He started out as an actor, used to play a lot of bad guys in TV back in the 60s, and he was a student at the Actors Studio, and he directed episodes of The Monkees, The Muppet Movie, and of course, one of my all-time favorite teen sex comedy movies, Fraternity Vacation, with our good friend Kathleen Kinmont, as well as Barbara Crampton. So, rest in peace, James Frawley. And so here is my new interview with Mindy Seeger.
Hi, Tommy.
Hi, Mindy. Welcome back. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm just fabulous. I've been on this diet since January 1st, and it's been a trip to hell and back, but I'm starting to get used to it, get immersed in it. I feel so great.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Yeah. And stuff. How's your cherry I popped last time?
Good. I still don't understand podcasts. I mean, just this thought of how do you sit there for like an hour and listen?
Yeah, it's just, it's conversational.
Yeah.
It's like talk radio, but, without being demonetized.
Yeah. But the world we live in right now, it's so difficult because everything's so fast and we bombard our senses really quickly. So I find sitting somewhere for an entire hour and listening to someone is almost never anything I want to do.
Mm-hmm. How would you like to do it for half an hour?
Half an hour is good.
Yeah.
You could do a half an hour.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's funny. I've been thinking a lot lately about how the world is just so fast now. It's just insane.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with the technology. So we're becoming faster at receiving and transmitting thoughts and information and imagery. So anything that's not fast may get missed because it's a different energy. I mean, just the energy of the world has changed.
Yeah.
So I find things that are a little slower, like even watching a TV show or reading a book, if they haven't hooked me in the first 10 or 20 minutes, then I'm gone.
Yeah.
If a book hasn't hooked me, in the first 20, 30 pages or 50 at the most, then I'm like, why? Why? Because I think also the world is speeding up and time seems very important, so the wasting of time seems not shameful, but just like there's so many things to do. There are so many things to do quickly, the world changing, shifting, the energy of it all. So I find my pace as a person has changed, but I blame some of that on the world, the time in which we live. But then I think that's the right time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that time is here now because we all need to, kind of amp up our game or receive and send quicker. That's messages of love, messages of hope, connecting with someone.
That's it. Yeah. Oh my God. Like I watch, certain old movies and TV shows, and I just can't get over how well plotted they are and how slow paced they are. And sometimes slow meaning it's good, and they put so much into it in just a certain amount of time. But also you think to yourself at times, how is this ever popular because it's so damn slow?
Yeah, it's true.
It's
true. Although I did find myself re-recording the classic movie The Fly the other night. Do you remember The Fly from like the 1950s, 60s?
Yeah, the Vincent Price version.
Yeah, I loved it. I think I watched it 1,000 times when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So those movies, somehow, I'm wondering if when I watch it, I'll feel the same joy I felt as a child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, certain things you see, and it's still pretty good. It holds up, and then other stuff, it's like,
Yeah, I know. It's shocking. It's shocking, really. But then what it just proves is you've changed. Like, I think sometimes this idea that, everything that happens to us affects us and changes us, and sometimes we don't even realize how much we've changed.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way we get to really see that is, when we are accidentally transported, I don't know what that is, transported back in time, and we realize our feeling about something is different, our experience of something is different because we are completely different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And yeah, just the whole state of the world is just, oh my God, I can't believe it's like, it's like we're in hell or something,
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny because, maybe you wanted to have a silly talk with me, but I don't think that's possible. I think we're just going to have a deep talk,
Mm-hmm.
A deeply energetic, soulful talk. The world is changing. And even the technology, which we were talking about before, is all part of this great shifting of the planet and the awakening of women. I was telling I had this thought the other day, and I thought, well, women in particular, but the world in general, we're told the fairy tale. And the fairy tale is this guy, he's a prince, but maybe not, maybe he's a frog. He's a liar already, he's a liar and a cheat. So this prince frog, who's not being honest with you, comes to you and awakens you, and then awakens the princess. And then that's usually the end of the story. There's just like a big musical note, and she's going to live in non-reality. So that's kind of what we're taught, which is someone who's not really truly representing themselves awakens her, and she agrees to live in his non-reality. And I thought, well, how do you wake up a shield maiden, a warrior, a female goddess? You take an axe, you break apart that bed. Not only will she wake up, but she's pissed, she's angry, she will not rest until she changes everything. So I think this idea of, that's just my story, this idea of awakening, how do we become awake? It's so easy to live in the fairy tale.
Yeah.
Princes and frogs, and it seems like you're awake, but you're not. Now, you know this in your own experience. Adversity, upheaval, also what's going on in the world, wakes you up. So like the warrior, the shield maiden, the bed is literally being chopped to pieces, so we can't even go back to sleep if we wanted to, unlike the princess in the fairy tale who just will live in non-reality. We can't. We've been awakened. So that's kind of my thoughts about what's going on. But I also believe that everything that happens, whether you like it or not, is part of how we change. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I definitely do. And, the last year was a pretty dark year for me, and stuff happened, and I was just in shambles. But things are getting so better now. I'm just looking forward to things that are going to happen this year. Like, me and my mom are going to take a trip to LA in April, and we're going to together for the first time for the HorrorCon I go to every year.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and hopefully, I can find some contacts because I'm, still planning my move there and stuff. I'm most likely going to do it myself this year at some point, but it's going to happen. I'm coming.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
Good. We never know. We never
Yeah.
know what the journey's going to be about.
No.
But I think it's exciting anyway, even though we don't know and we want to know and we have all these plans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you can just hold on to that, which it sounds like you do, that excitement of, I wonder what will be. And then the next question is, I wonder what will unfold, and then I feel it's always like, wow, I didn't see that coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was definitely a lot of that last year. A lot of it.
Yeah, well, life is, I think we don't always know what life is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we think if we're good, do the right thing, that we're going to get exactly what we want. And yet it's almost like we forget that we're souls who came to the earth to be in a body, to evolve, to expand, and that the things we experience, even if they're horrific, and they always are, if it's not what you want, it's usually horrific, but these things that we experience change us, and we think, oh God, that's bad, and yet it's the change that transforms us and expands us, and that's why we came. I mean, that's what I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, life is just one, evolution after another.
Yeah.
And yeah, things that are going on with our president and stuff, and it looks like, there's going to be just a glimmer of hope for us after this is all over.
Yeah.
And I hope there is.
But you know what? The planet had to shift anyway. And so just like in life, this horrible thing, let's say this horrible thing, the president, a horrible thing, not what I wanted, this horrible thing happened, and yet it is waking up the shield maidens. It is waking up the warriors.
Mm-hmm.
So how else was that going to happen? Because the world was in trouble before.
Yeah.
It's just everybody was asleep. Or some were asleep. But now no one's sleeping.
Yeah.
Or a lot are awake now. But there was always a problem. We just didn't see it deeply, clearly. And now we do, don't we?
Yeah. I think that the world has learned what manipulation really is.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that the world has definitely learned. And yeah, I think everyone is going to know better next time.
And also, the fact that there were people that thought he was the answer.
Yeah.
In their heart. They weren't trying to mess with people. They were, in their genuine heart, so sick of what there was that they gambled on him.
Mm-hmm.
They were so desperate, so hurting, so without hope. Except for the people who just did it to mess with, the Hillary voters or the Bernie voters. But that amount of hopelessness where you said, I'm willing to try this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is there's no one person that's ever going to save anyone ever.
No.
How you save the situation or how you save yourself is, what are you doing?
Yes.
Like your life never was going to change externally. In reality, it was going to be an internal decision that you made to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
An internal decision that you made to have a different life. Tommy, who knows if your dreams come true? What are these dreams anyway? My dreams, my best ideas were when I was 8 years old. And we got locked in this idea of who we want to be, and we stopped growing, changing. Mm-hmm. And one day you wake up and you're like, why is an 8-year-old running my life?
Yeah.
I no longer want that. may not enjoy watching The Fly, although I think I will.
Yeah.
It's so odd. It's nice to remember how delighted I was.
Mm-hmm.
But then I changed. And yet my beliefs may still be that of an 8-year-old. So as long as I can be flexible, I think the desires we have lead us to where we're supposed to go. But the end game, who knows? It changes.
Yeah.
Being an actress got me to California. But then in California, so I needed to be an actress.
Mm-hmm.
I have a desire to, uproot myself from a perfect New York life and move to California. And then when I was here, my artwork kind of developed and unfolded and expanded. And now I don't really care about acting anymore. It's something I did. I'm glad I did it. But it led me to the other things I would do.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to be what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And maybe there was more than one thing I was going to do. Maybe there are many things I want to do that I didn't even know I did. And if you ask the 8-year-old, nope, she just wants to do one thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
I'm for open and flexible and the surprise element. The other day I was thinking, you remember when you were a kid and you'd buy those little capsules that you put in water?
mm-hmm.
And then it turns into something, and it was like so exciting, even though like it turned into maybe a shit little spongy looking dinosaur.
Yeah.
But that sense of excitement of putting something in water, this little capsule that was going to become something magical, something unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's life.
Mm-hmm. Is that what art began for you?
Art, I did it as a young girl, but out here, it just seemed to develop more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I change, it seems my art changes. But it's the same way. As you change, everything about you changes.
Yeah.
So what you used to like, you don't. What you used to want, you maybe want it differently, or maybe appreciate it differently.
Mm-hmm.
You had that big upheaval that changed you. And even though it didn't feel good, the change was so important for your insides. For what you think about Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, from the time I was a little kid, I wanted to act, I wanted to do comedy, I wanted to be a horror host, which I still do want to do all those things, but my parents weren't in the business. They supported me, but I had no support in the business in general. Nobody told me I had to do everything myself. Nobody told me, nobody kept me going. That I had no peers, no mentors, no friends to keep me going and stuff. And then a car accident changed everything, and it made me want to find out and pursue it. And if it wasn't for the podcast world, I wouldn't know everything that I've learned, because I've learned stuff that wasn't available to me when I first started. The internet was just, brand new when I was just starting, and there wasn't a whole lot of information out there yet. And it's been so profound.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And you didn't want the car accident. Nobody does.
No.
And yet it changed you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's making you want to pursue something that you believe will make you happy. And it might.
It gave me...
If something else is presented, you always want to be... Like I said yes to this conversation with you the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I even said yes the second time. I probably won't say yes the third time, so... because you just don't know. I mean, you're a good guy, you're a nice guy, and I thought, gosh, okay, I'll do this. Let's put this in water.
Yeah.
Take the little capsule. Let's see. Because we don't always know where something goes. And like I said, I may or may not care about podcasts, but, you know, we're talking right now. We're having that conversation. What you do with it is fine in your business.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought to myself, you know, an authentic, because you're a real guy,
Mm-hmm.
an authentic conversation with a like-minded soul who's in the middle of his journey.
Oh.
What could be wrong with that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that made me say yes. You know?
Oh, I appreciate that so much, Mindy. That really that really touches me. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, that accident gave me balls I didn't know I had.
Yeah. Which will make you, you know, it's making you make choices and changing directions and making plans. And then you watch, again, I'm sorry, I'm tiresome, I'm repeating the same imagery, but I really like it.
It's okay.
Then it's dropping the capsule in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And then the wonder of what might unfold. You know?
Yeah.
And it really won't be the animal you were hoping for. I think there were a bunch of animals in those things. No, maybe I'm the only one who bought them. Did you never buy them? Have you put in water that then materializes?
Yeah, you know what I used to have was those what are those washcloths, those magic washcloths. You know.
And you put it in water?
Yes.
And then it turns into something.
It turns into a washcloth. Yeah.
Ah! Just a washcloth? No animal in it, or?
Yeah, because it's like
you had a terrible childhood.
it's like a hard surface. It's like a square hard surface. You put it in water and it turns into a magic washcloth. And it's got like a design on it, you know, it's got like
so you got a design.
A rainbow.
Right. Mine is much better. I'm talking about little spongy dinosaurs. Little multicolored spongy dinosaurs, and or monsters. I think they used to have them for spiders. Fake spiders. But it's the element of wonder. What will come out of this capsule? What might be? And that's how I feel about life. A lot of times I say, oh, I guess I'm done. I guess this is over. I guess, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, I make stuff up all the time. We all do. We're all just, you know, brain chatter.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, a capsule in the water surprises me, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know I would be doing this.
Yeah.
So there is never any end until you're dead and it's over, and even that's not an end. But I'm saying, like, even when it looks like something is bad, it's not bad, it's just moving you in another direction. And then there's always the element of surprise. It's the same surprise where something shitty can happen. It's the same surprise when something so unexpected can happen that makes you feel blessed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I have seen my accident as nothing but a blessing. And, you know, I tell people about it and they say, oh, I'm sorry that happened to you. And I'm like, don't worry about it. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. I turned that into something positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there's
very smart, very true, very wise.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do.
It's here for a reason. If it's happening for a reason. I may not always like learning, extending, growing, and becoming the best version of myself, but that's why I came. I may not like the process. Who does? Who likes process?
Yeah.
I want immediate results. You know?
Mm-hmm. Everybody does, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, the slow unfold in the process and the capsule in the water, and in your case, a shitty hand towel, but in my case, a magical spongy dinosaur. That was also shitty. the dinosaurs, but still watching something become something.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you get your dreams, you may say, "Oh my God, that's great," but I'm thinking there's got to be more.
Yeah.
You know, or your dream changes. And you realize it wasn't a dream after all. It was just the vehicle, just a car you were riding in to get to the next destination on your life journey.
Yeah. Like, you know.
Too deep to be on a podcast. You can't trust me.
No, you're doing great. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's funny. It's always been, you know, my dream to live in LA, and you know, I love visiting over there and stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's also a need in me to like want to visit Europe, and my mother and I talked about that when I was in the hospital.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love that. I just got a nice feeling when you said Europe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's great. And you know, when you've met your mortality or come close to it, then you start to say, you know what, I need to tell everybody who I love that I love them. And I need to take all the actions that I've been putting off for saving for a rainy day and wear all the outfits I've been saving for special parties. I need to live fully, you know, within a budget, but to live, to not wait. No one is handing you your happiness. Your happiness has to be today, right now, in this moment, you know, that you're here.
Mm-hmm. And living every day like it's your last.
Well, you know, without being gloomy or, although you do like horror films, so do I.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know about tomorrow, you know.
Nobody does.
But, right. And so can you imagine, you know, I don't want to leave anything unsaid and anything undone. You know, I can't do it all today, but, you know, I can do my best today. I can be the best Mindy today.
Mm-hmm. Last.
Well, I really love that idea of, you know, who shall I tell how much I love them?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that they know if today's my last day, that they were loved. And I think I'm good. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, so I think everybody at some point has gotten the message that I love them and that they matter. Wow, what a gift to tell someone they matter.
Mm-hmm. I tell everybody every day how much I love and appreciate them. And
that's beautiful, Tommy. Look how you got to all this stuff, and that was part of your awakening.
Yeah, well, it's not so much because, you know, it could all end tomorrow. It's just the fact it's just who I am. You know,
Yeah.
I've always been that way, and you know, I may not ever get the responses that I want, except from my parents, but
Yeah.
it's just who I am, and I have to do it. Otherwise, I'm not true to myself.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean,
beautiful.
When I don't get certain responses, I think to myself, "Oh God, it's like, where do I stand with this person?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. Well, it's about you telling them.
Mm-hmm.
It's about you letting them know, and that may not be who they are.
Yeah. Like
so, you know, if I love you, I feel good feelings.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't want to love you, okay. They don't get to have those good feelings of what it feels like when you to love someone.
Yeah, I remember something Neil Diamond once said. He said, I can sing I love you, but I can't say I love you."
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to take the love in.
It took my brother many years to tell him that he loved me, and he did. 2 years ago. Finally, actually, he said it when I was in the coma, but I don't remember it. But 2 years ago, when we were in LA for the convention, and he said it to me, and he'd been drinking that entire weekend, so I didn't necessarily believe him. But then he said it again 6 months ago or something, and now I can take it in.
Tommy.
Yeah.
That's another hidden blessing. It took a coma, but
yeah.
But then it became his opportunity to open his heart.
Yeah.
So life's a mystery, really is, and somehow we're all in it together.
Yeah, some people don't have a clue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last night, just to shift gears for a moment, last night I found those I was on YouTube. I found those 3 episodes you did of Dear John.
Oh.
Yeah.
Liked it?
Oh God, I was laughing hysterically, especially at your opening line when Jer Burns says to you, "Ooh, I can help you with anything you want," and you're like, "Great! Now that you've seen me naked, let's keep it a fantasy."
Funny. That was so long ago.
Yeah, you're great at comedy.
It was nice to be young and funny. Now I'm deep and soulful. Anyway, good. I'm so glad you found it.
Yeah, and oh my God, something ironic too. In that first part, Lorenzo Lamas was in it, and him.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, him and Jer Burns were both married to Kathleen Kinmont, who's been on the podcast 3 times. She's a good friend of mine. Yeah, and I've told her. I said you went from tall, dark, and handsome to short, blonde, and repugnant.
Hysterical.
Yeah, it's
so funny.
The first time I met her at a convention. Me and my friend Joe, who's short and blonde, he and we both got hit on by her. She's very flirtatious, and like I brought it up then. I brought it up again. I said, yeah, you go from tall, dark, and handsome to short, blonde, and repugnant.
That's hysterical.
Yeah. But, oh my God, yeah, that was a pretty funny episode. I love it how you two are always fighting in the hallway and it always leads to a kiss.
Yeah. No, it was a lot of fun. It was great doing that show. It really was.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I didn't like that show, but now that I'm older, I get it now, and I think it's hysterical.
Yeah. Again, it's funny how things change.
Yeah.
We keep seeing the world differently.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's great TV writing and stuff. Yeah. From the James Burrows camp.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of TV you just can't get anymore.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad. I mean, everything's gone to Netflix and streaming and all that.
Yeah, I know.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel that there's a big market and there's a lot of opportunities. And it's great when you can watch a show that's new and never been done before. But a lot of times it seems, we're just watching the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
So, it'll be great when new ideas come up and new opportunities for people who can tell a story in a different way.
Yeah.
A lot of times it seems they just want to remake what is.
Yeah.
Or what was. So
Yeah.
I'm always excited when I see someone a little different.
Yeah.
Or some story that's a little different. But when I start to watch a show or a new show and 10 minutes in, I'm like, okay, I already have seen this somewhere somehow. No, then I bail.
Yeah.
But, I'm always interested in new.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are.
Yeah, just the potential of what can I do differently? How can I don't want to be a hack in life.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't want to. I don't have to be. I don't want to just get stuck in doing the same thing because that's always what I did. Because it doesn't. There's no energy to it. It doesn't feel new and exciting. So, like, I'm always happy. You know, when I wrote that book, you know, we talked about it before, the Relatively Random Musings book, which is on Amazon, but
right.
that was so new for me. You know, and just the idea of even doing it, and then that I actually did it. And that was like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that blew up, wow, I did that. How is that possible? And then when I put my paints away, and then I started painting again after a long break, and new kind of, you know, more abstract, vibrational, otherworldly, I was like, wow, I thought I was done with painting. I put it, the paints were in the closet. I was done.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't ever want to make the same paintings I made before. Because I don't have to. And then, but this new art came up. So different. And this year, I had done this art show called Breast Heaven, and on my website are 60 paintings that tell my breast cancer story. And I had an art show, so I had a gallery book, but I never made a book into it. And it occurred to me that I wanted to, that I could do better. And I also love that, this idea of I can do better.
Mm-hmm.
So this year I hope, again, I'm waiting for my sister-in-law, who's a brilliant web designer and book designer, and so I think she's going to work with me in February, hopefully. But I started to change what was Breast Heaven, and I wanted new energy. And because I wrote that other book, I'm a better writer, so I wrote a better prologue, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited because the energy of it will be new, and then to be able to put it on Amazon just means people can find it, and it could help them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I really do love this idea of I can do better, and the energy of something new that I hadn't. Again, I'm back to the little capsule in the water. The energy of, wow, I don't know what it'll be, but isn't this exciting?
Yeah, every time you post something that you made, my breath is literally taken away. It's like,
oh my God, Tommy, that means so much. Thank you. And you know,
yeah,
that's spiritual. That's vibrational art.
Yeah, I mean it's like right up there with the classics of art. I think.
Thank you.
You know.
Thank you. And I didn't even know that was in me. I didn't. If you said to me last year, "What are you going to do?"
Mm-hmm.
No, or a year before, or why don't you paint? I literally once said to someone, you know, I'm not an artist anymore. And they're like, you're ridiculous. You're always an artist. You know, I hadn't been painting, and I never thought of it. Yet, you know, this art is coming out of me, and with so much passion. And then one day, maybe the energy will go away. And I won't want to do it anymore because I've done it. Because there's not one more I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the old art that I used to do, it was very real and valid for me. I was telling my story, whatever the story was. You know, when I had eye surgery, I would paint eyeballs. You know, breast cancer, I would paint breast cancer. It was all very, it was like my healing tool. But then one day, when my mother died, you know, I painted loss over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day, there was nothing more to paint, and I put it away. So I wouldn't even be able or want to do those, although they're all in Breast Heaven and that's still valid, but I wouldn't create it now because that Mindy is gone. And so that vehicle of expression is also gone.
Yeah.
And then something new happens and I'm like, oh God, I didn't even know that was possible. So, and I'm glad we're Facebook, Instagram friends because when the new comes, you'll see it and you'll go, wow, now look what she's doing.
Yeah, I'm so blown away by it because I don't know if I told you this before, but I used to go to art galleries in the Bay Area, and I went because of the free alcohol that I was
Ah,
getting. This is just before my accident,
yeah.
and I would see, oh my God, just terrible art. Um, I'd see these terrible just a terrible art from local artists. I'd see some good stuff, but mostly bad stuff. And I don't know what the person's goal was to bring these to a gallery. I'm just thinking to myself, God, this person couldn't even paint a toenail with a crayon.
Ah, funny.
It was so bad. It's like they brought their kindergarten classroom artwork or something. But when I see your stuff, I'm like, oh my God, this is just beautiful. It's right up there with the classics. But of course, in a 1,000 years, we've had a shift in the technology of paint and art materials. But it's definitely right up there.
Oh, thank you, Tommy.
Of
But
course,
what you're saying is so interesting. You can look at art and say, I don't get what this person was doing,
yeah,
but it may be valid. It's just it doesn't speak to you. You know,
right,
it doesn't resonate for you. Unless, of course, you're right and it really was bad art. I wasn't there. Supposedly, someone once said, I said, do you like this art? And she said, you can't ever say art is good or bad, really, or bad. I mean, everybody likes to hear stuff is good, but you can't say it's bad. You can say, I don't understand it.
mm-hmm.
That's a very generous, way to be. You're probably right, and it was probably terrible art.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like mine, because now you're a critic. Now that you're a rough critic, I'm lucky you like mine.
Oh yeah, I mean, uh, I don't like this to call myself a critic per se of anything, but yeah, I do have my opinions
Art
like
lover.
everyone. What's that?
Not an art lover. Art connoisseur.
Yes,
Yeah, that sounds better.
yes,
Critic doesn't sound good. You're right.
yeah,
Critic's not a nice word.
no,
And they don't get popular by being nice.
no,
No, a critic only gets popular by being super mean.
yeah. It's funny.
Well, it's good to know. You're right. That word itself has an odd vibration to it. Right after I said it, I went, oh, that doesn't sound like a nice word anyway, ever. And how could you criticize something that comes from my heart?
Right.
Like when you're doing your stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if someone says that's not good, but that's my heart. I'm putting my heart into it. Don't
Yeah.
say my heart's not good. Say you don't understand it.
Yes.
Or I'm not your cup of tea.
Subjectivity. Yes.
Interesting.
People never take that into consideration that there's a word called subjective where not everybody likes everything.
Right. Otherwise, there would only be one thing that we'd all do in one way, in one path.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd all be the same person, which we're not.
Yeah, people
There was
never.
this TV show recently that I loved. I mean, I thought it was insanely brilliant, called Sally Forever on, it was HBO.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I laughed. Comedic genius, very out there, but I just thought it was brilliant. And I may be the only one,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but it was just so wonderful to see something new, different, out there.
Yeah. It's like it's just I use that word now everywhere I go when I hear a negative opinion on something. I say it's all subjective. They
Yeah,
just never take that into consideration. They just think that people think they can they can change everything and change the world.
yeah.
And it's like, if you don't like something, don't watch it, don't look at it, don't do anything with it,
Yeah, it's not your cup of tea.
Yeah. Now, when you do the art displays and everything, you ever get like super famous people complimenting your work?
I haven't had a show in a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think I know where super famous people are, but interesting thing, because I'm thinking about Breast Heaven, and there was once this charitable event, and my artwork was in the lobby, the Breast Heaven artwork, which will be a book sometime this year on Amazon, but Breast Heaven work was up, and people were milling about, and the security guard came over to me, and he said, "This really touched my heart." He said, "Thank you." He said, "My mother had breast cancer, and this has really moved me." And honestly, Tommy, that meant the world to me. So, I don't know. Famous people are great, and I'm so happy for them if that was their destiny, but it's just if you touch someone or you cause them some happiness, like, wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was a guard. And yet that meant the world to me. Because he understood and it resonated for him. And because of the painting, he felt he understood what his mother was going through.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, oh God.
Yeah.
So I have nothing against famous people. I just don't, I don't know what it means other than if I touch you, that's so wonderful. And life is interesting. If you're meant to be famous, you will be. And if you're not, then you weren't meant to be because your soul didn't need that experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I feel about a lot of things. If it's meant to be, it will be. And if not, oops, you just thought it would be.
Yeah.
And you thought that was what this life was about. Like, I acted for 30 years. I wasn't meant to be famous. I was meant to work, and I'm glad I did. And then I got to stop, which I'm also okay about.
Mm-hmm.
And I've created art for probably 30 years. I'm just going to say 30 years for everything. I'm not famous, but it, makes me happy. It fulfills me. It touches my heart. Occasionally someone else's, and Tommy Kovac likes my new work. So, I'm wonderful, and there's energy on it. And energy is really about connecting with another human being.
Mm-hmm.
So that's so much more than who I think I am or who I think I'm supposed to be. How would I know? Again, the capsule in the water. How do I know? I can guess at what this life is about, but I don't really know. It's been so surprising so far.
Right.
And not every minute of life is fun, nor is it supposed to be.
It comes in.
Fun is in between the learning.
Yeah, it comes in small doses.
In between the evolving.
Yeah, it comes in small doses. But,
yeah. Or many doses, but the stuff you remember is the stuff you didn't like. The stuff that imprints upon your soul, like the car accident.
mm-hmm.
But what if that imprint was the thing that was going to change your life completely?
Yeah.
In my book, The Relatively Random Musings, is one that talks about how we're always focused on the event,
mm-hmm.
the thing that happens that rocks our world, instead of how that is the vehicle that changed me completely, because the event does not matter. I mean, I have to go through it. Like, I had a double mastectomy. The event does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
Although I didn't want to have it, I didn't want that experience. No one ever says, gee, I'd like a mastectomy, please.
Yeah.
But once it wears off and fades and you survive, because you're supposed to, whatever, part of the plan, then it simply becomes something that changed me completely. I became a different Mindy. And I was supposed to become that different Mindy, and like the princess earlier in our conversation, I really woke up and became the Shield Maiden.
Yeah.
I love the Vikings, so I've now said Shield Maiden about 7 times, but I love the TV show The Vikings. It's not my fault. Sure I am. Well, women were warriors. What's not to love?
Oh.
Women were in their power.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, to me, you'll always be a star, Mindy.
Thank you, Tommy. I think we almost did an hour, didn't we?
Yeah, and I got another.
I of myself. You somehow got me to talk. You're very gifted in getting the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, it wasn't planned, but I'm glad that you got to say some insightful things, and even though you won't do a third, it's okay with me because we'll have private conversations of this.
Beautiful.
And I have another one coming up in about 7 minutes or so.
Oh my goodness! Well, you better rest.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Brian, I love you, and I wish you well.
I love you too, Mindy, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, and we'll stay in touch.
Okay.
Okay. Bye, Tommy.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, there you have it. Mindy Seeger. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Mindy. Yeah, I did not plan on going so deep with you. I'm glad I did get to make you laugh, but I didn't know we were going to go that deep, and I'm glad we did. And we will talk, but it will be off air in the future. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes!